Hello, and welcome to the Mommy Escape Time podcast. I'm Lauren. I'm a wife and a new mom. I came up with the idea of this podcast after struggling to find mommy groups around me when my son was born. I wanted a community of mothers I heard so many of my friends talk about when they had their children. This podcast is to help mothers like me that want a community of mothers to connect with when they have their free time. Together with my usual guest, Taryn, and other mothers, we will share our experiences, not our advice, through motherhood, and hopefully get some tips from you, the listeners. So come join us on the Mommy Escape Time podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Mommy Escape Time podcast. I'm here today with Taryn.
Hi, everyone.
I have a little bit of a cold, but I'm sure you all can still understand me, but it's just,
one of those things.
Yeah, we'll do a whole nother episode about,
Mom's getting sick.
how I had the best immune system for, the past 12 years, and now I have the worst. But today we're going to talk all about swim lessons. And I don't know if you guys remember, but we had done a show about putting our kids in activities a few months back, and I was so frustrated with the idea that I could not get my son into swim lessons because it's like a cutthroat,
It's competitive.
You have to be here at 7 a.m. and you have to be this kind of a member to sign up.
Yes.
So we're going to kind of walk through the process, one of registering, because Taryn and I actually went through the exact same process.
Right.
And both of our kids are actually in swimming this session, we can say. And it's obviously very different for me than it is for Taryn, and we're at the same facility. So, but definitely interesting. So.
Yes, interesting would be a good way to put it.
Yes. So I would say the sign up process. So last time I totally missed the sign up process because I was not a member. And we're still not members. Only my son is a member.
Yeah, my twins are members. And I was like, I don't understand. So I can be here and not be a member.
Yeah.
I just can't leave my kids and take a class. I don't understand. I don't quite get it.
It's very confusing, but whatever. We pay a silly fee.
Right.
That lets our kids be members. That means that we can sign up for classes earlier than everyone else.
Yes. So we don't have to be as cutthroat.
Yes.
With the registration process.
But still, the day of registration opens, you have to be on your computer ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
And
at 6 a.m.
At 6 a.m. Yeah. Which isn't too big of an issue since we're already up for school on those days. But yeah. But my issue was it didn't work at 6 a.m. online. So we had to call, and thankfully they did it over the phone. Normally they don't.
Thank God.
But I think they know who I was at that point.
They were like, oh, God.
Not this woman again.
Make sure we take care of her. We don't want to hear from her again.
Yes. Well, and they won't tell you how many spots are in the class. So that's what's, I don't know.
Right.
So I didn't know, are there 2 or are there 4 or are there 9 or are there 10? You never know. So that was one of the things. So we sign up, and you sign up a month before the classes started.
Yeah.
Because we signed up in December sometime, and they started in the new year, that first week of the new year, full week. So yeah.
Yeah. When I went to register, so I go to the gym in the morning, right? So
a different gym.
Yeah. And I told my friends that I work out with, listen, I have to leave here by 5:45 at the absolute latest. I started up my laptop before I left for the gym. I need to be online, logged into one of my kids' accounts by 6 a.m. because these spots disappear like wildfire. I need...
And you had to get 2 in.
And I had to get 2. And I was panicked. I was like, what if I get my son in? And then I have to log into my daughter's account and then get my daughter logged in. And then... There are no spots left.
I know.
So pure panic was washing over my body as I raced home and sat down at the computer, logged in, and I clicked, and thank God there was a spot that said other registrants ? So I was able to register my daughter and son at the same time and get them in the same class. But I was terrified because they said the same thing. They were like, oh, especially Friday afternoon and Saturday morning classes.
Right.
If you want to get into those, you have to be on your game. They said kids who are not members of the place, they never get Friday or Saturday morning.
No.
They'll get it during the week. So as we are recording, my husband is getting my kids dressed and ready to go to swim, which he always thinks starts at 4:30 instead of 4. So I'm curious. He's got about 10 minutes before he needs to leave. If I'm going to get a text in about 10 minutes, so I don't have to leave until 4, right?
So when you hear a phone vibrating in about 10 minutes, just understand, we still have to be in communication with our other halves who are watching the kids.
Yes.
So how long is your class? Like how many minutes long is it?
So it's a 40-minute class.
Okay.
And what's great is our neighbor works there.
Oh,
So
that's nice.
her younger son, her 2 sons are in swim classes at the same time.
Oh.
And what's crazy to me is one of her sons is a preschool-aged kid. So his class is 35 minutes and starts 30 minutes before
Their class.
Wait, no, let me get this right. No, starts 5 minutes before their class.
Oh.
So then it ends
at the
10
same
minutes
time
before
for
the other class.
then.
So she's running around like a lunatic. She has 3 kids.
Oh my gosh.
Probably ask her if she wants to be on this one day.
I know.
So she's got the 2-year-olds like toddling behind her, and she's got hats falling out of her bag, and she's got one in the pool and one standing waiting that she's like, get dressed. I said, put on your bathing suit. And he's like, I don't want to. And then he gets his bathing suit on finally and jumps in the pool. And by the time she gets up to the observation deck to watch, she has to go back down, get her younger son who's done, get him changed. And then she's screaming at him, we have to go watch your brother in the pool. Come on, let's go. It's funny for me to watch from an outside perspective.
Of course, because it's like, oh, it's not me.
Right? I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
And they finally all get out, probably half an hour after all of the classes are ended.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, it should not take this long.
No, but it does. Everything takes longer with
gosh,
kids.
so long. Yeah.
So we'll kind of explain how the whole thing works. So there is a family changing room.
Yes.
At where we take swim class, and everyone has to change in a, I don't know, changing station.
Yeah, they're like closets. It's like a locker
Yeah.
room, but you don't see anyone walking around naked.
Right. No kids, no adults.
Yeah.
Everyone.
It's very private.
Right. And I remember when my husband and I first came, we're like, oh, we didn't bring a lock. And everyone, and
Yeah.
there was another parent there at the time, and they're like, no one wants your stuff. Trust me.
Right. We all have our kids' wet bathing suits.
Yeah. It's like hard to think about. Now it's a little different for us because obviously we go in the water with Luke.
Yeah.
So either my husband or myself are also in a bathing suit, and then my son is in a bathing suit and a swim diaper, obviously. So, and then the other one, it's like a weird setup. So all the locker rooms, there's an exit door to go out to this hallway where it goes towards the pool.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take a left, you're going to the pool. If you go right, you're going up to the observation deck.
Yeah.
And there's like this right before you get to the door of the pool, there's like the tiniest space where they want you to wait
Yes.
with your kids.
Right.
And then they call you in for class.
Uh-huh.
And for Saturday mornings, there's like 50 of us. And I'm like, how is this? Like half the time I just walk in, there's bleachers in where the pool is.
Yeah.
And I just sit there because I'm like, I'm holding an infant. I cannot hold an infant for, however long it takes.
For you to get everyone lined up.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So for my kids, it's same setup, but the process is different. Every time the kids go and line up for their class, they have to ask the parent permission. Can I go line up for swim now?
Oh.
And it's great because most of the kids are younger. I was very late to the game in signing my kids up for swim classes. I did it for one summer and I was like, oh, they're fine.
Yeah.
And then my mom started bringing them to the beach and putting them in the ocean. And I was like, oh, they're not fine.
Not ready yet.
Yeah, we need some stronger swimming skills. So we just started again this year at the same time as you.
Right.
So my kids are like, Mom, do I really have to ask you if I can go swimming? Obviously, you dragged me here. I'm going to go swimming. And I'm like, I know. Let's play by the rules.
Right.
Do what they say. So they roll their eyes. Mom, can I line up to go swimming? And then the kids walk to the pool, and the parents aren't allowed to start walking until the kids have turned the corner to the pool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the swim director does not want it to be confusion and like
Right.
adults passing kids. So one day someone was on their cell phone and wasn't paying attention and started walking past the kids, and the adult got reprimanded. Like, no, the kids have to go first. She was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then so the kids turn left to go to the pool, and we go up to the observation deck.
Yeah, the observation deck, it's like a second floor above the pool, and it's windows on, it's a rectangle, but only two sides have windows and bleachers or chairs to sit in.
Which are not very comfortable, but for 40 minutes, I make it work.
Exactly. I know. Yeah, so either my husband or I will sit in the observation deck while the other one is in the pool.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know, like, the first time I went to class, I was like, oh, this is why it's so hard to get into, because there's only 3 other people here.
Right.
And that was the first week. And then the second week, there were like 12 people. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh.
So I don't know if like people didn't know the first week or what. And it seems like so much more because it's the little kids and the parents. Right. And we have a bunch of, so it's from 6 months to 3 years old. So there's a bunch of like double parents with 2 different kids there, because they have kids ranging in that age.
Yeah.
And there's one grandmother that always takes one of the girls in. And it's so funny because we have another class going on. Like there's 2 classes at the same time. There's the 4 to 5 year olds on the other side. They take up 2 lanes, and then we take up 3 lanes on the other side. And this grandmother takes the kid in for the 6 months to 3 years old. Then she trades off with the other grandmother who takes that girl. Well, and the grandmother's like switch kids like all the time. And it's like one grandmother's always in the pool with the girls, and then the other one's always changing the other
so
ones.
Cute.
So they're there, she said, like for 2.5 hours every Saturday, because none of the classes are at the same time.
Right. They're staggered in that funny way. Yeah.
So, and I think it's nice to have the younger kids, like to see what the next level is at the same time.
Yeah.
Because our class it's very odd. Our class is 25 minutes, and the class for the 4-year-olds that's next to us is 30 minutes.
Yes.
You know?
So beware. It'll soon be 35 minutes and then 40 minutes.
Right.
As your son gets older.
Yes. I would say the locker room at the beginning of swim is great. It's not that crowded, and people are already dressed. And after swim, it's like a free-for-all.
Oh my gosh. I agree.
And it's much harder, I think. I think I'll like it a lot more when I don't have to change. But it's hard when you separately are changing.
Although I don't know what my kids do when they close the door. It takes them forever. So even though I'm just sitting on a bench waiting quietly for them to get out of their changing stations, sometimes I'm like, there have families of 3 that have come and gone with their 3 children, and you're still not done. What are you doing?
Right.
And then they have in the locker room that thing where you could put your bathing suit in and it spins it dry. Yeah. And every week they have to spin dry their bathing suits until they're almost completely dry. And I keep explaining, like, no, it's just to like have it dry a little bit so it doesn't soak through your bag. We'll dry it at home.
All right.
Oh, no. And then there's a hair dryer that my daughter's like, oh, I have to dry my hair. My daughter never brushes her hair ever. But when we're at swim, she has got to use the hair dryer. And I'm like, could you do this at home?
Right.
We
seriously.
have all of these products.
Right. It's so, yeah. So for our swim class, how it works is we kind of do a similar thing. We
sit the kids next to the pool, like at the edge, and we sit at the edge and we say, okay, we're going to go in. And if the kids are old enough, the parents ask, you know, do you want to go into the water right now? And they have to say yes or no, because we try not to have screaming and crying fits. And the parents always jump in first, and then we help the kids in. And how ours works, all our kids have to wear, I don't know, a floaty. Yeah, I don't know how else to describe them. Which I never understand these floaties, because it would make your child stay flat, face down right? flat. And I was like, how is this a thing? It's like the
bubble on the back. Like it looks like a styrofoam square almost, right?
And I was like, shouldn't that be on their stomach so that they would float to the top and their head would come up?
One would think.
I know I'm not like a swim expert, but if anyone knows why that is, I would love to know why all the swim stuff makes you go face down. Right. It just kind of defeats the purpose, I feel like.
I'm glad I'm at the top of the water drowning instead of at the bottom.
Yeah, like it makes me more scared than if he wasn't wearing anything.
Right.
So we have like 10 minutes where the kids kind of just like play, and we kind of like swim and move them around ourselves. Mm-hmm. And then we go into these songs where we kind of like move the kids, like London Bridges. Oh. So there's 2 instructors, and they each hold like a foam noodle to make a bridge. And then we pass under the bridge. And when you pass under one bridge, you have the kids turn over to their back. And then you move around and you go to the next bridge, and then you turn them around to have them get on their stomach to learn like the flipping over mechanisms. And so we do a lot of things where we're teaching them how to flip over while holding them. But yes, we're flipping them over, and we're just trying to get them to start blowing bubbles.
So. Oh, that's a good skill.
Yeah.
See, I missed out on the swim lessons at the age of your son, because I had 2, and I was scared to bring them by myself, and was so unsure, and I just didn't know. So I guess I was more scared of the unknown, of like, how do I handle it with 2? And my husband works on weekends. Right. So all of the Saturday classes, any day of the week really, would have been one of us.
Right.
And the weekends would have been just me, and I was not ready to handle that. So I waited until they were able to go in on their own. So their first swim lesson was 5, and now they're 9, and they're back in it, because I was scared. And I see all of these videos and pictures of parents with their kids swimming. I'm like, that would have been great had I been able to do that.
It's a trade-off.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
My kids are healthy and they can survive. They swim fine.
Right. And they're going now.
Yeah,
so, you know.
Exactly. So when my kids started, they got tested to see what swim group they would be in. So for the school age kids, each lane is a different ability level. And then they have a pre-K class and a younger school age class where they're still learning basics, and they all have to wear the floaties. So when they tested, my son was tested in one lane below my daughter. And I was so nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a talk with him about it doesn't matter that you're in the lane below her. You're still doing great. And he was okay with it. And he was like, well, Mom, when I was at camp, they told me I couldn't go in the deep end because I didn't have freestyle. So obviously she knows how to do that better than me, because she already went in the deep end. I was like, oh, so I missed the boat on that conversation too. Probably should have had that over the summer or the first time you were told you couldn't swim in the deep end, which is part of what prompted me to get them in swim lessons.
Right.
Like, I don't want my son, who is very tall for his age,
yes,
to be in the shallow end where he can stand up at the deepest part of the pool.
Right.
Or lake. At camp, it's a lake. Right. And my daughter over on like the inflatable slide,
right,
jumping into the deep water. So that was the motivation. And it's so funny to see they run parallel classes. So they start with laps, and in my daughter's class, they do the instructor is no longer in the water with you. The instructor stands on the sides and just walks up and down the pool watching, and will explain form, but is not in the water. My son's instructor, there's 2, and they're in the water. One stays on one end and one stays on the other. And if all of the kids are going, they'll follow.
Okay.
And so they practice all of their strokes. And my son does this interesting thing where like he doesn't ever have his arm leave a right angle. So he'll bend at his elbow instead of extending his arm all of the way. And I hope I can explain that in a way that makes sense for the listeners.
So if you had your arm, like your elbow bent, and then you tried to swim like that instead of having your arms straight out.
Yeah. So it looks like goalposts almost.
Yes.
That's what. So I keep working with him to say, extend your arms, use your full arm. You'll actually get further if you use all of your arm. And my daughter's like, obviously, Mom, straight arms are better. That's what they say. And I'm like, listen, stop bugging your brother.
Right.
He's learning. He's not the most active. And he was born with really stiff muscles, so I'm sure it's part of that.
Yeah.
It's just so funny to watch between the two of them. And my daughter swims faster on her back than when she's on her front. So she's like, I like these backstrokes. They're great. And I'm like, good. And then they practice diving at the end, which they both like.
Oh, that's
my
fun.
daughter's, because she's the highest level, will dive off the platform.
Oh, that's
and my son's group just dives off next to the platform. So they said if he progresses enough, he can move up onto the platform. And he was like, no, I'm good.
And when we say platform, it's like one of the racing platforms, not like the 8 feet tall,
not the diving board platform, like
diving boards.
One that Michael Phelps stands on to start his race. Those platforms. So,
just want to be clear in case people are like, "Wow, she's jumping from 20 feet and diving
She's
in."
Very advanced for her age.
We have no diving boards. They're just it's just a racing pool. So, yeah. I think it's kind of fun to see the kids. And the last time we went, my son is actually able to hold on to the side and we can like let go of him.
Oh,
not because he's anything special or above anything. He's just really into the gripping like time. So he really likes that. I will say we go on Saturday mornings, and I like the ease of Saturday mornings, but for a half an hour class, like we have to leave a half an hour before it starts. Then you get there and then you do the half an hour. Then it takes us a half an hour to leave at the end, and then we go home. And I'm like, we just but we just did 2.5, 3 hours
of our Sunday
morning, and that's it.
Saturday morning.
I know. Yeah. And that's normally the time where I cook his food. So, and he comes home so tired. I mean, he normally falls asleep like on the walk out. So.
Yeah. My kids would too if they weren't walking on their own. Especially that first week, they came back and they were zombies. They were like, oh man. And my daughter goes, can I just go to bed now? I was like, it's 6:45. That might be a little early.
Yeah.
How about at 7? And she was like, okay. And at 7:00, she marched upstairs and fell right to sleep. I was like, why didn't I do this sooner? You need to swim every day.
I know. It's like, how can I get a pool?
Right. I just need 2 lanes. That's right. All.
Yeah, it's we talked about doing it next session because our session, like you said, is about to end. And we're going to take a little break. I think we're going to wait till this summer. So it's a little easier because I could go during the week then. Yeah. You know, and then it's just a little easier. And then it's just like, oh, it's my Tuesday morning that I'm doing this. Like, who cares?
We're continuing because my son is determined to learn freestyle so that he can swim.
But isn't that good that he's like excited and wants to do it?
Yeah.
So.
And he has a goal. And because our neighbors are there and he's friends with them, he's like, well, maybe he'll move up to my level and we can swim together. And I'm like, well, nice. Just don't hold yourself back.
Right, exactly.
So that you and your buddy can be in the same class.
Exactly.
You're still in the pool for the same exact amount of time at the same time.
Right. So that's good. All right. Well, anything else you want to add about swim class that I didn't bring up?
No, I just think, well, I guess yes. It's definitely beneficial to get your child into swim lessons just for safety and survival.
Right.
And if you don't, that's okay too. Because I spent many years feeling guilty about not having my kids in swim lessons and then feeling anxious over the thought of bringing 2 infants to swim lessons.
Right. And I don't know how you would have done that because you would have needed to people anyway,
right.
to adults.
Yeah, and I don't have any family that's
Right.
available for me on weekends.
Right.
And my mom wasn't driving from out of state
To
for
come
a
every
9
week.
a.m. swim lesson. So just don't feel bad if you're not at a space where
No.
you're having your kids in swim lessons yet. Like,
Because
that's
you
okay.
can, I mean, I think we all know basic water safety.
Yeah.
So you can do stuff in the bath.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine. Like, that's, even if you literally, I mean, my child is 9 months right now, and I still tell him, like, oh, we don't put our face in the water unless, mommy and daddy are around.
Mm-hmm.
And, he might not fully understand it, but him keep hearing it and understanding it,
One day you'll be walking out of the bathroom and he'll be like, I can't put my face in because you're not here.
I
And
know.
you'll know it worked. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and I have, my mother-in-law lives on a lake. So we have considered, I don't know what they're called, but they're these swim classes where I've only seen them on TV, where they throw your infant in full clothes, and they teach them how to flip over and turn over and paddle to like a side to, so they learn like to not drown, before they can learn all the skills for swimming.
Which is probably a good way to go, survival. And then you
Right.
can perfect your strokes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, you can only do what you can do. So
Exactly.
you can't feel bad if you can't do it. So I'm starting now, but I'm already stopping. So we just wanted to kind of get a taste and see what it was like. And, we'll fit it in when we can. And when he's older, like you said, like
Yeah.
when they're 5, that's a little different. Like,
Right.
so, yeah. So, okay.
All right.
That's good. So if you have any comments for us, please go, give them to us.
Yeah.
We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, sort of. And, subscribe. We've actually gotten a bunch of good reviews on iTunes.
Hey, thanks, guys.
So thank you. And I do want to do a shout out to Spain, England, and Canada. We have some very loyal listeners.
Hi.
So yes, if you are from Spain, England, or Canada, thank you.
Thank
We
you.
enjoy you. We'd love to hear from you. So, let us know. You could tell us what swim classes are like in your country. So,
Yeah.
or what the culture is like even with swimming in your culture. So, all right. So that'll wrap up today's show. We hope you have a great day. Bye.
Bye, everyone.